Hello, everybody, and welcome into our first trade deadline episode of the Hockey Writers Roundtable here. I've got Alex Chauvancy, who covers, does a lot of the trade deadline coverage or runs the coverage. Alex, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's been an up and down trade deadline so far. Not too much happening today, but hopefully that means it's going to be a crazy Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like either all the deals happen the day before, or we get a whole bunch in the morning, or it's afterwards. Like it's already the deadline's passed, and there's a whole bunch of just kind of trickle in, going through the trade calls and all that. So it seems like it's yeah. I guess it depends on the year, but right now, I mean, there have been some major players that have been moved so far. We're just going to do a bit of a reaction for some of them here. And hopefully we'll have some more to talk about after the trade deadline and talking about winners and losers. And a little early to do that right now. But I want to start though with one that didn't happen. And that was going to be a pretty big deal. And that was Parayko going to the Buffalo Sabres. But he has that no trade clause and declined to waive it. So he doesn't want to go to Buffalo. So he's still a St. Louis Blue. Where do the Sabres go? I mean, it's obviously they were looking for a top type defenseman. Are they going to pivot and maybe go for someone else, or are they just going to strike out?
It's going to be interesting to see what they do because they could definitely use a defenseman. They're playing two lefties on the right side, so excuse me. So it definitely seems like they want a right-handed shot. I mean, I cover the Devils, and they have a couple of right-handed defensemen that are out there in Jonathan Kovacevic and Dougie Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton did play for Lindy Ruff for a few years in New Jersey, so there's that connection. Even if they wanted a left-handed defenseman, Jonas Siegenthaler is out there too, so maybe he could be a fit there. Kovacevic's name is out, kind of surprisingly out there, considering he's only 1 year into a 5-year extension that he just signed. But I could see them being a potential trade partners if the Sabres still want a defenseman. I think the problem for the Sabres now is that a lot of people know that they're willing to give up something like a first-round pick and redeem Murtka, and I think that kind of hurts them in the negotiating table moving forward, trying to get a defenseman. So maybe they just stand pat and run with the roster that they have right now. But I think if they can find a way to add a defenseman before that trade deadline, 3 p.m., I think they'll do it because Jarmo Kekalainen, it seems like he wants to make a move and reward the team for what they've done this season because they could make some noise in Eastern Conference playoffs. They're not a bad team by any stretch.
For sure. I mean, and that's music to the Sabres fans' ears that they're actually a playoff contender this year. And I mean, we'll see what they do. But yeah, it does kind of put them behind because now teams know that they're willing to give up these guys. And, that's probably what they're going to be asking for in anything. And we knew that was probably going to happen with guys with these no trade clauses that they're not going to want to leave or at least not for Buffalo. I don't know if Parayko is going to go somewhere else, but we'll see what the Blues do as well moving forward because obviously Parayko is a guy that they were okay trading because they had the deal in principle done. It's just waiting for Parayko to waive, and obviously it didn't happen. All right. Well, one defenseman that did move, and that was Mackenzie Weegar, and this is Utah Mammoth acquiring him, and they've got a pretty formidable defense now, adding Weegar into that mix. What does that do for the Mammoth in their playoff race here?
I really like this addition for the Mammoth. You already have Sean Durzi and John Marino on the right side, and Marino's been having a really, really good season for the Mammoth. Now you add Weegar to the mix, and Weegar kind of just does a little bit of everything. He's pretty underrated offensively, but he's also pretty good defensively. I think if they want to throw him on like the second power play unit, he'll probably have a little value there too. But now the Mammoth can give him top pair minutes with Sergachev. They have two legitimate defense pairs now with Nate Schmidt and Marino. And then I guess you would have assumed that Weegar is going to go with Sergachev. The only thing for the Mammoth is like they have a really difficult path ahead of them in the playoffs. They're going to probably get stuck playing, the Avalanche or the Stars or someone in the first round. Yeah. And then the next matchup is going to be some combination of the Stars, Wild, and Avalanche. So they do have an uphill battle there, but it's not like Weegar is a rental. They have him under team control for a while, and I think he fits perfectly for what they need for the next couple of years because they're a team on the rise. If they get in this year and they don't make anything, I think that make anything of it, that'll be valuable experience for them. But I think they're going to be pretty competitive here for the near future.
Yeah, I mean, Weegar's under contract for a bit too, so it's not like this is a rental or anything. Yeah, I think the Mammoth, I don't know what else they have up their sleeves. I know they've been in talk with a lot of forwards. I think Robert Thomas was a guy that they were kind of circling around too. So they might not be done. So we'll see if they have any other forwards that they're going to acquire before the deadline as well. All right, the Oilers, they were active. They've been active actually the last week here, getting Connor Murphy from the Blackhawks as well. But they get Jason Dickinson, Colton Dach. They sent Andrew Mangiapane the other way. He had to waive his no trade, which he did. What do you think with this one? I mean, of course, they had to move Mangiapane to work Dickinson into the line because obviously that contract, $4.5 million, I believe. They have to. I mean, there was retention as well on the Blackhawks side. But yeah, they had to clear some cap with Mangiapane going the other way. What does this do? I mean, these are two guys. Colton Dach obviously is a younger forward. He's been mostly in the AHL this season. But this adds a lot to their bottom six.
Yeah, I like this addition, Dickinson, for the Oilers. I think we couple it with Connor Murphy. We all know the Oilers need to get a little better defensively heading into the playoffs. That's been a big weakness for them, aside from goaltending. That's an issue that hopefully that these two additions will make a difference for Tristan Jarry and whoever's backing him up. Is that still Kevin? Oh no, it's Connor Ingram now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully these will help shore up their defense. I think, if they want to get past past teams like the Avalanche and the Stars in the Western Conference playoffs, they're going to need to be better defensively. Dickinson has a really good reputation as a solid shutdown center in that bottom six. That the price, I mean, it's not the greatest asset management, giving up, was it a first round pick to move Mangiapane, but it's hard to argue that the Oilers are a worse team after adding Dickinson and Murphy. I think they did improve their team, even if the asset management wasn't great, but good addition for the Oilers. I think he will really shore up the bottom of the lineup and give him a little more defensive prowess.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying on the Oilers, it actually happened during our video when we were talking about it. It happened live as we were recording. Not the full deal was revealed. We didn't know about the first round pick or Mangiapane going. But I was saying Dickinson's one of those guys that I actually was happy when the Canucks got him way back when. He never fit in with them, but he did end up doing what he was supposed to in Chicago. And I think there's a guy that not going to be the 20-goal scorer that he was for one season there, but he is a really good bottom six guy, penalty killer, good playoff addition. So we'll see how he kind of fits in with the Oilers in their bottom six. All right, moving to the Stars, they've been really active over the last few days, and that's they first acquired Tyler Myers from the Vancouver Canucks, and then today getting Michael Bunting from the Nashville Predators, who have been really active as well, trading a lot of their guys. What do you think about these? It's a couple veteran guys. Myers, of course, is a bigger veteran. He's going to probably play in the bottom pairing, maybe. Not as big of a role as he was with Vancouver, but what do you think about these two new additions to the Stars?
I'm unsure of what to make of Myers going there. He has gotten better as he's aged, actually, which you don't see that all that often. Mm-hmm. He's not the defensive liability that he once was, but I still feel like the Stars needed a little bit more of a puck mover on the right side of their blue line. I think that's their biggest weakness. But for whatever reason, they seem to have this, I guess not fixated is not the right way to put it, but they definitely seem to have like a type that they like on the right side. They've tried Ilya Lyubushkin, they've tried Matt Dumba, they've tried Cody Ceci. And while I think Tyler Myers is better than all of those players, he's still like a similar type of defenseman compared to someone like Ceci. We'll see if it works out. I'm unsure. The Stars are obviously a better team than the Canucks, so he's going into a good environment. I do like the Michael Bunting addition, though. I think he's still pretty underrated middle six forward, and I think the key for the Stars here is they didn't add anyone with term. We all know that Jason Robertson is due for a big pay raise this offseason as an RFA. so they can't really add anyone with term until they figure out what that number is going to be. So I think Jim Nill did a pretty good job of adding some, or at least improving their depth and adding a good middle six forward in Bunting. And then I think Myers, I would guess they're going to try to play him with Thomas Harley at first and see if that works out. If it doesn't, then yeah, you could just slide him down the lineup. But I think they did fairly well given the circumstances and knowing that they can't really add anyone with term. Like, it's not like last year where they could go add a Mikko Rantanen, and they're definitely more cap strapped this time around.
Yeah, and Myers has the 1 year still on his contract for next year. So again, not a rental. I mean, I think, yeah, Myers, I don't get the hate with him. I mean, a lot of Canucks fans, either they really like him or they really don't. So there's no in between. I've liked Myers his whole time he's been in Vancouver. He had a bit of time where he was, he was in the penalty box a lot, but he's cleaned that part of his game up, and he's actually a really solid defenseman. So I mean, I think he's going to end up working well in Dallas, but we'll have to see. And like I say, he's not going to play as much as he did in Vancouver, because he was actually playing in the top four a lot of the time. Even with Quinn Hughes. He was with him a few times too. All right, looking again as another contender, getting some guys and getting better. Avalanche getting Nick Waugh, who didn't fit in Toronto. I mean, Toronto's not doing very well this season, but Waugh goes back to a playoff contender. He's been a Stanley Cup contender actually. After those years in Vegas. So he just kind of slides back into probably a similar role in Colorado. So what do you think about this one?
I like the addition for the Avalanche, even though they paid a pretty high price. To get him a first-round pick for someone like Nick Waugh is a lot for a third-line center. I mean, I guess it's been a rough week for Darren Dreger, saying it was a buyer's market, but it's clearly not a buyer's market. Judging by Nick Waugh going for a first-round pick. But the Avalanche needed a center, and I know they were connected to like someone like Nazem Kadri, but just from a financial aspect, I don't see how they can make that work, considering he has 3.5, 4 years left on his contract. So it made more sense to go for someone like Nick Waugh. And I mean, yeah, he's got the Stanley Cup experience from his time in Vegas. I think he'll give him good depth. He's pretty well-rounded center. Not the best offensively, but he does have some puck skills, and I think more importantly, he'll give them like a defensive presence in that bottom six. It's always good to have come playoff time, especially the path they're facing. I mean, we talked about the Utah Mammoth. That could be their first-round matchup. That would not be an easy first-round matchup, and then Stars and Wild could be waiting for them in the second round too. So improving your depth definitely goes a long way.
Yeah, and I mean they figured out their second line center now with Brock Nelson. He seems to have really fit into that role. So Nick Waugh just kind of slides into that third, fourth line. I would probably think third line in Colorado. So yeah, it really makes them more closer to what they were when they did win the cup. So which they had a lot of depth down the middle. All right, one of the most recent trade, and I haven't seen anything else that's happened. So the Senators acquiring Warren Foegele. I mean, Senators aren't in a playoff position as of right now. They're actually, I think they're 3 or 4 points away from the final wild card spot. So they acquire a speedy bottom six guy in Foegele, and didn't really fit in LA, but he had some good seasons in Edmonton. So what do you think about the Senators? Kind of an underrated move, it looks like.
Yeah, I like Foegele, the player, but it was interesting to see what the Senators gave up. I think they gave up a conditional second and a conditional third, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then I think they got a third-round pick in return from Los Angeles. But still, I thought he was a good buy low candidate, and because Los Angeles wanted to clear the contract, I thought they would just get the sweetener and then not really have to give up anything. But that didn't really turn out to be the case. But I still like the player, even though he's having a down season. He was just a 24-goal, 46-point player last season. So, and I think he has good bounce-back potential. All his underlying metrics with the Kings were pretty solid this year. So I think going to a team like Ottawa, who's in a better spot than the Los Angeles Kings right now, I think that's a good fit. And he's not a rental, so it makes sense. He's under contract for next season too. And I think in a better environment like Ottawa's, he could bounce back pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's not that far removed where he was really good in Edmonton. Yeah. So I think the Senators will probably be fine with him. One I didn't add in, and is Nick Dowd, who did get moved as well. He was moved to the Golden Knights. I mean, you're talking about the sellers market. Nick Dowd got a second-round pick. I was really the Canucks better get going here because they got a lot of guys that are comparable to this. But what do you think about the Golden Knights getting him?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I thought that was a high price to pay for a fourth liner too. They gave up a third-round pick, and I don't think Jesper Vikman is much of anything, but they still gave up a prospect. High price to pay, but I mean, he's a good player. He's one of the better fourth-line centers in the NHL. He has a little bit of offensive ability, but really a good penalty killer, and he'll give him some defensive presence. I like the addition. I guess this, it's just what the market is this year, that you have to pay a high price to get these kind of players. But it's a good addition for Vegas. I think it's a little bit like Nick Waugh. I think they've kind of missed him a little bit in that lineup, having to trade him to get Mitch Marner last offseason. So I think Nick Dowd could definitely replace some of the minutes that he would normally be eating up. And they've, had some center injuries this year too, between William Carlson and I think I'm missing someone, but at least William Carlson has been injured a little bit this season too. So a little center depth will go a long way.
Yeah, and Dowd's really good in the faceoff dot and a great penalty killer as well. So that's again kind of replacing what Nick Waugh brought to the team. And I think he'll probably be a good, again, those underrated moves that playoff and Stanley Cup contenders make that end up actually making a huge difference in the playoffs. So I guess the Golden Knights are out of the Teddy Blueger sweepstakes because that's what they were kind of talking about. Because I mean, Blueger's similar guy there. All right, well. Speaking of guys still on the board, we got the trade bait list on the hockeywriters.com. There's lots of players still on that list. Of all those guys, who do you realistically see kind of getting moved in the next, I guess, what about 24 hours or less than 24 hours here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the St. Louis Blues are probably the most interesting because they have a bunch of guys that they're looking to move. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Robert Thomas before, but I'm super interested to see if he gets dealt by the 3 p.m. deadline. If not, maybe that's an off-season move. I think same thing with Jordan Kyrou as well. And I mean, I guess we'll see on Colton Parayko. The fact that he did not waive his no trade clause to go to Buffalo now makes me think he's probably going to stay put through the deadline. But they still have other players like Brayden Schenn and Justin Falk. Are they just going to go for the complete fire sale here? Before 3 p.m. I saw just before I came on to do this episode that Conor Garland's out there. Pierre LeBrun said that the New York Islanders, the New Jersey Devils, and San Jose Sharks and Boston Bruins are among the teams that are interested in him. So we'll see what comes of that too. I'm just kind of also interested to see, like, is there going to be that blockbuster move that, would it be a Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou? We haven't really had that this trade deadline. I guess, I mean, you could say Quinn Hughes, but that was back, middle of November, Thanksgiving. So it was a long time ago at this point. So it'll be interesting to see if any of these top players move or if all of this stuff is going to get punted to the offseason because I think the fact that it's a seller's market right now might scare some teams off from buying and they might just want to wait until the offseason when prices go down. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the Canucks have a lot of players that are on their they want to move as well. And I'm really surprised that they haven't moved since this is a pretty big market that they haven't moved any of their bottom six or these like veteran guys like Teddy Blueger, which I think could get a second round pick in this market. And I mean, Evander Kane is one that everyone keeps saying that he's going to be moved. I don't know. He might not be. And that's interesting to me. I mean, there's of course the Elias Pettersson's been in the rumors. I don't think that's happening. That's one that I think will end up being in the offseason type thing. Same with like guys like Jake DeBrusk, Brock Besser. I know Besser's been in the rumors quite a bit over the last week or two.
That's like a few seasons, honestly.
Yeah, a few seasons, really. Like you said, it's not a trade deadline without his name in the rumor mill. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that, of course, we always get the noise and the rumors from all ends around this time. So, and a lot of it never really happens. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of them does. I mean, I can't really remember the last time we actually had a real big blockbuster on deadline day. I know like once, like Mikko Rantanen, that was way before the deadline. We had
like my best guess would be like Mark Stone, because I remember that coming in at like the 11th hour and whatever. I think that was during the pandemic shortened season when he got traded to Vegas. That would be like the last time I could remember something like that happening on deadline day itself.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's going to, unless we got all of a sudden get a whole bunch of stuff happening here. But we'll see what happens. There could be some teams that won't be able to do anything because of how high these prices, it seems, because now that it's kind of set, I mean, teams are going to be asking for this. If this guy got this, well, we want that too. And I think that's what's going to might like you said, scare teams off now with what the prices are that are being paid for some of these bottom six guys that you'd think would go for a fourth rounder, not a second or even a first. Like Nick Waz, I guess he's a middle six guy. If you want to look at it, he could be in the top six depending on the team. But first rounder is kind of high price for him. So
for sure.
That's why I'm thinking teams like the Canucks, teams like the Rangers. I mean, Vincent Trocheck is still kind of out there.
Yeah, I did see he was a healthy scratch today in their game. So I guess they must be getting closer to something with him.
Yeah. And then the Maple Leafs, of course, they scratched a ton of players the other day too. Ekman Larson,
McMahon. It was against the Devils just last night, I think. Yeah, it was McMahon, OEL. Yeah, they scratched a bunch of players.
So, I mean, they're obviously looking to move those guys. So we'll see if any of it comes to pass in the next, less than 24 hours from now. But thanks, Alex, for coming on, talking the trade deadline. And, as we were recording, nothing major happened. So we'll get together again and probably maybe with some other people at the site to talk about some of the trades that happened tomorrow. We will probably see some happen and kind of set our winners and losers and do our normal breakdown. But make sure to check out everything at thehockeywriters.com. We got trade deadline coverage already out there. Lots of reaction pieces going out. That will happen as the trades get going. We got trade grades as well for any major deals that come out. So check all that out on the site. We also got the trade deadline tracker to keep you up to date with all of the moves that happen. And we will have reaction videos as we can, if anyone's available to do them. But any of the major stuff we will do. So make sure to check all that out. But until our next episode, we will see you next time.